Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we are doing 1997's The Devil's Advocate.
Vanity really is my favorite sin.
So let's get into this. And before we do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you to all the new subscribers. But The Devil's Advocate, 1997, stars Keanu Reeves as Kevin Lomax, the most milquetoast name ever.
Yes.
Al Pacino.
My name is Chad Chatterston.
Al Pacino as Milton, Charlize Theron as Mary Ann Lomax. First of all, this movie's made a ton of money. Let's just go on the record as far as a blockbuster. This was it. First reaction, there was, I think in the conversation that you and I had on the phone, there was a lot of overacting. And as you pointed out, there was a lot of underacting.
Yes.
There was no consistency. It was up here and down here the entire time.
Yeah, if they weren't just like monotone and speaking at this level, they were like this. Like, Jesus Christ.
So, Kevin Lomax, played by Keanu Reeves, is a successful defense attorney in Gainesville, Florida.
Criminal defense attorney.
Who has a reappearing and disappearing accent throughout this movie.
Yeah. A la Leo in Gangs of New York.
Yes, exactly.
Make that a drinking contest and drink responsibly because you will get fucked up.
Yeah, make sure there's a low alcohol content to whatever it is you're drinking.
Yeah. That's a Smirnoff Ice night.
So, after successfully defending a high school math teacher who diddles little kids.
And what is the creepiest, most scene to open a movie ever?
Yes.
The dude is literally fingering the desk.
Yes. Dude, this
I thought you had to be on a roller coaster to finger people. I didn't know you could sit in a chair.
No, apparently in a courtroom, you can give the desk underneath the desk the old "How's your father," and so Keanu Reeves obviously sees dude diddling the desk as the poor girl on the stand is like describing what happened, and it gives you the willies. And he calls for a recess. He's just like, I need a break. I need to go to the bathroom. Now he's trying to figure out whether he's going to, I guess, continue. And he's like, well.
It's either rat fuck your career or let people keep pedo-ing.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a thing.
What I didn't get was he's celebrating. So his wife, Marianne, is at the courtroom. Yep. He's not a quarterback. Like, do you go to all of his? And they show them in the bar afterwards celebrating who they obviously know is a teacher that diddles little kids.
Obviously, you have never been to a criminal trial in Gainesville, Florida, because normally there's number one fingers. You got the guy with the beer can helmet. It's a fucking show, bro.
Apparently. So I guess I need to visit a courtroom in Gainesville.
People wearing like autographed Steve Spurrier fucking visors. It's crazy.
With the mesh hat in the back.
That's right.
And apparently it's cool in Gainesville to bite your spouse's ass on the dance floor, which was also another creepy move. I guess that's to show that they're in love. Yes, person up front.
I'm biting Charlize Theron's ass in that situation, too.
You were correct.
I don't know if the ass bite is my first move, though. Like, that's his first move. That's his go-to move. Mark Wahlberg has grandpa kisses. Like, that's his go-to move. And turning clocks back. And Keanu Reeves in this movie goes for the ass bite right off the bat. So
Yes.
Sure, cool. But he
is the son of the devil. Spoiler alert.
So he gets approached by a representative for a New York law firm with an offer to go to New York to pick a jury. Apparently, it's a lot of money. We don't see how much it is, but the Lomaxes decide, let's go. That's a lot of greenbacks right there. So they go up to New York to look at the big city.
Well, this stuff's made in New York City. New York City.
They really needed a scene because they're doing everything they can throughout the beginning of this movie to make them just shit-kicking yokels.
Hey, baby.
When he hands them the information, like this, how much you're going to make, first class across the board, etc. The response is, first class? I didn't know they had first class on Greyhound. This is amazing. Like, that's how bad they are making them out to be.
They show them, and not only that, the next scene is him going to, because apparently he can't visit his mom at home. He has to visit her at church. And she goes to one of these, we wrestle with snake churches and let snakes bite us and shit. And she's super Christian to let her know that he's going to New York. And she's like, I think that's a bad idea. There's a lot of bad stuff. Let me tell you something. I know who made you go. It's that goddamn wife of yours.
Why do I feel the hand of Mary Ann on this adventure?
She made you go. That's her idea.
That blonde-haired Jezebel taking you to Babylon. Yeah, slow your roll. This isn't their honeymoon. They've been married for a minute.
This isn't like they just started dating 2 months ago. Like, they're married, and they've been married.
And by the way, spoiler alert again, you had a kid with the devil out of wedlock, you hypocritical bitch.
I don't know. Did she know? I don't know if she reveals if she did.
In her world, anybody that's having sex out of wedlock is the devil.
Little girls are the devil.
Heath shows Kevin around the office. He's distracted by Cristabella, which is one of the other attorneys in the office. Not gonna lie, I might have been distracted too. He also meets Al Pacino, Milton, who is one of the partners in this law firm. And Milton shows Keanu his roof office with the infinity pool on the roof with no railings and whatever. And they just have a casual conversation, which a good gust of wind, not even a good gust, like a meh gust of wind.
A normal New York gust of wind at that height
would fucking send you flying 4 blocks down the road.
It's astounding. And he walks to the edge and it goes,
Holy shit.
what did you think was down there?
So he basically offers him a job. They do a little negotiating. Heath and his wife Jackie take Keanu and Charlize to what would be their apartment. Show them around, and they're like, oh my God, there isn't a house in fucking all of Gainesville that's this goddamn big. What are we going to do with all the walls and the paint and stuff?
I like how they do, again, going out of their way to make them yokels. She goes, we left the walls white so you could choose your palette. And Mary Ann goes,
What am I picking?
your color scheme? Oh, yeah. Fuck out of here.
New York City.
These are the people that vote in Gainesville. So, the Lomax is also against wearing masks in public. Just FYI.
Yes.
So, the next day, Keanu meets the team who hands him his first case. He meets the client, Felipe Moyes, who practices voodoo and gets caught sacrificing a goat. Kevin goes in. He wins the case in literally like 2 minutes.
Yes.
And because he's like, oh, I read books on New York law and butchers. Cool. Kevin and Mary then attend a party at the managing director, Eddie Barzoon. They go to the Eddie Barzoon's house or apartment for this party. Milton flirts with Marianne, and one of the creepier, like, it should have been like, with Marianne, it should have been like, I'm going to get the fuck out of here moment.
Yeah, like, I've been here 3 minutes, and my husband's boss has followed me around the party. I'm now alone with him on a couch. He openly says,
I'd love to do it, but if I did, everyone in this room was pretending not to be watching us. Would naturally assume we were fucking or something.
Because they're going to think that we're fucking.
Like, whoa.
Slow your roll.
You can't start with sleeping off. You just met this broad.
Do you hang out with the math teacher? What the fuck is your problem? I mean, at least you're overtly hitting on adults, but slow your roll, brother. Like, let's settle down. But
this is clearly a Weinstein production.
So he flirts with her, plays with her hair. Kevin goes outside. Like, when they go into this party, she specifically says, like, listen, don't leave me alone. I don't know anybody here.
Promise me you won't leave me alone in there.
And they're holding hands as they're walking through. Then Milton takes them, and listen, at a party, you're going to get split up. It's probably what's going to happen. But at no point does he ever go like, hey, where's my wife? He doesn't give a shit because he's outside fucking Christabella on the goddamn terrace.
Yeah.
And they're literally about to have sex openly on the terrace until Milton comes in and Pacino's like, ha ha ha, what's going on? Everybody fucking out here? Like, he does his Pacino thing.
Don't forget, like this. If you're fucking, I get to hold her hands. That's the one rule I got.
I will say this. For this movie, Pacino was the most Pacino he's ever Pacinoed.
This was really like when it started to just. He was very over the top in this movie. I believe this is what they call the crescendoing moment.
So that night, Kevin, he gets invited up to Milton's. They talk about this high-profile case because Coach Craig T. Nelson apparently killed his whole family. And in the movie, I actually wrote the note. In the movie, it says,
Alex Cullen has just been charged with murdering his wife, her stepson, and a maid.
Did I hear that right? Isn't his wife's stepson his son? I might have heard it wrong, but I thought they said stepson. I'm like, isn't that his son?
My quick maths are not on point tonight, so I don't know. That was some long division.
You're right again.
Milton basically gives Kevin the case. He's like, you're on the case. Everybody's all pissed off. Hey, you just got here. What's going on, man? Fuck this shit, man. And that night, Kevin goes back to his apartment, and his wife's home. They've been in New York for what, a week? She's already having a mental breakdown.
Oh yeah, this is basically when Marianne starts to realize why everyone else in Gainesville calls New York sex criminal boat. Because she's just over it immediately.
You bailed on me.
Whatever's going on right now in your relationship, this is as we talk about on this show a lot, you can go left or right.
Yeah.
And he chose the wrong path.
Yes.
Immediately and continuously. He never once gives a shit, which is my biggest problem with this movie, because as soon as he gets there, he is just, he wants the money, he's lusting after his sister for some reason, over Charlize. He's just going
fairness.
Not in all fairness.
He didn't know it was his sister.
That doesn't make it better.
Hey, it was his stepsister.
Fair enough. In Gainesville, that's fine.
Go back and watch the Cruel Intentions video we did. That's probably not cool either. But whatever. I'm not one to judge.
That way was only going to be anal. This seemed like pregnancy is what they were going for. Yeah. Totally different ballgame. But anyway, point being that he immediately is blinded by everything and doesn't give a fuck about his wife until the very end of this movie after she's gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is... Why
well,
now?
And at this point, yeah, because at this point...
If you're him, you have just gotten everything you want. You're not a bad guy in the divorce. Your wife just killed herself. Spoiler alert. And, I mean, it was in 1997.
Yeah.
You grow up. Watch the movie. But anyway, he watches his wife die, so he's not the bad guy in the divorce.
Yep.
Right? He now gets to go fuck his stepsister, free of charge. He gets to run around with Milton, free of charge. He can choose whatever color palette he fucking wants. He doesn't have to deal with her wild haircuts anymore. Everything he complained about is now gone. And he's like, oh, I loved her so much. Based on what? You bit her ass in a bar 6 months ago?
Hey, 6 months ago, he loved her a lot. Until he went to New York and he was like, there's great ass everywhere.
Great ass!
He got the best ass in Gainesville. He went to New York and was like, okay, ducks in a pond, ducks in a pond.
Yep.
All right. So
fair enough.
This is where Marianne starts seeing demons everywhere and hearing shit and having strange dreams.
The torturing is simultaneously the worst and best part of this movie.
Yes.
Because she does a great job.
She does a great job. I actually like how they did this. How she, like, you know, it's, you obviously know that it's Milton doing all of this. Yeah. And, you know, if you haven't seen the movie before, you're kind of like, there's something strange going on with this guy. Like, he might not be the devil, but he's some sort of like, there's something like that going on here.
If you haven't seen this movie before and you've made it this far in the video, you've pretty much seen the movie.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, we've pretty much ruined all the big points.
She's telling him, like, oh, I saw this baby and he was holding my ovaries, and he's just like, ah.
There is no blood. It was a dream. Mary, it was a dream.
Go back to sleep. You'll be fine. Here's some wine and sleeping pills. And
he's very much like a 1920s husband. Now, you're being hysterical.
So Milton, they meet on the elevator. This is another great scene. Kevin, Marianne, and Kevin's mom comes up to visit. You know they went to a fancy restaurant because she's got the foil swan. And they get into the elevator. Milton comes in with two broads. This is when you know something's a little wrong because Kevin's mom's really weird about it. And
and if Kevin was paying half a bit of attention, he would notice that Milton, for some strange reason, is also eye fucking his mother.
Yes.
So he's like, first time in New York? First time? First time.
This isn't really your first visit to New York now, is it, Mrs. Lomax?
There's that whole interaction. They get off the elevator at Kevin and Marianne's floor. Yep. Marianne and her mom go into the front door.
And mom's running.
Yes. Pacino does his most Pacino thing in here, and he's like, you want to come up to the office? And
he doesn't. He does it in the most obvious way. You want to come up and talk about the case? It's gonna happen. Like, fuck, dude. Just a bit.
Kevin looks over to the door, and this is the best nonverbal acting that Charlize Theron does in this movie, because the look she gives him, he was like, "No, man, I'm good. There's some things I gotta go wash the dishes."
Let's talk tomorrow.
Kevin's mother is begging him to let her take Marianne back to Florida.
Yes.
Just let me take her back. And he's like livid. No, this is where we live, Mom.
This is home.
Yeah. Like, I don't live in Gainesville no more. If you care about your wife at all, cool, you got to stay in New York. I get it. You just signed a contract. You accepted a job. You got a big murder trial going on. I get it. Let the girl go back to Florida. Let her get on an airboat and feel the breeze in her hair for a little bit.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, too. You obviously don't give two squirts of piss about her. You can go in the elevator with Milton and all the rest of the hookers that he gets, again, free of charge. Yeah. And she's down in Florida getting her mental health back together, and maybe she'll go to the snakebite church and get fixed or whatever. But you're in New York in this lavish apartment. Like, yeah, you could literally work all day if you want to. You could work and play, hey, ooh, and you could do all that stuff. Like, I don't understand why he didn't want her to go. Eddie confronts Eddie Barzoon, about he just got promoted to partner, and Kevin apparently didn't know about it. Kevin goes and tells Milton, like, oh, he accosted me in the street. So apparently Milton sends ghost joggers and demon homeless people after Eddie Barzoon to kill him.
I don't understand why you needed the ghost joggers. I don't know why they had to be in jogging outfits if they're ghosts. They were blurs. Why did they have to be anything? Just pop up, scare him real quick, and he'll run towards the bums. And then, of course, just have the bums kill. You got demon bums. Yeah. Is there only like a 2 demon bum limit in New York? I know Rudy Giuliani cleaned it all up.
Hooah! Hooah!
But this is the other thing too, because during the whole Eddie Barzoon gets chased down by ghost joggers and devil dick bums, during this whole thing, he's like in Central Park. He's not running like near buildings, but Marianne could see the whole thing from her window. Like, cut all those scenes out where Marianne's seeing him in the window. Yeah,
and it never gets brought up again. Like, it's not like Kevin, like, she just witnessed a fucking murder. Leave her alone. It wasn't any of that. I don't know why I just let them do a Philadelphia accent at the end.
I think you should do that accent for the rest of the show. It's perfect. Anytime we talk about Keanu Reeves, just do that. So they go through this whole Alexander Cullen case. They go through the whole thing. Oh, I was unfaithful and I screwed my secretary. And Kevin realizes that really didn't happen.
Once again, doesn't really give a shit.
Just like, whatever.
That's 2 times now. He knows he's defended a pedophile and a fucking, what we find out to be is a murdering pedophile.
Yes, because he sees him later on because Eddie Barzoon, at his funeral, he shows up with his stepdaughter and he's like caressing her back.
He's like rubbing his thumb down her bra line.
So he then realizes that he's a murdering pedophile. Sweet.
But he doesn't really give a shit.
No, he doesn't, because he still gets him off the charges. Marianne tells Kevin that Milton came to the apartment and talked with her for hours and had sex with him, but she told him to stop, and Milton raped her.
She said it was literally all afternoon.
Yes, which Milton was in the courtroom, so Kevin's like, dude, you're fucking crazy, yada yada. And this is when they're in the church.
And he's like screaming at her.
Yeah.
So he's like, he was in the courtroom with me all fucking day. Dude, either way, your wife has been through some traumatic shit and is in a church wrapped in a pink fucking blanket. Whether or not what you know what's underneath is irrelevant. You need to calm her down. Exactly.
Yes. De-escalate the situation.
Down. Maybe call, I don't know, a fucking cop.
Yeah, a squad car, or like EMT something, but she gets
somebody with maybe a rape kit. If your wife says you got raped and she says who did it, this doesn't even need to be a PSA. Just quick heads up. Yeah. Don't be like, no, he was with me all day. Go get her a fucking rape kit, call the cops, get everything done that you're supposed to do. Then get down to the nitty gritty.
Yes.
Fucking asshole. He's such a dick in this.
Where she stands up and the church takes the blanket down and she's naked and she's got all the cuts all over her. He thinks that she did it to herself and they put her in a psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, he keeps going, Mayor, what did you do to yourself? Part of the scene when she stands up, she's got cuts in places she couldn't have done herself.
Yeah, like down her spine.
Yeah.
But Kevin leaves. They go to Eddie Barzoon's funeral. He gets chased down by Mitch Weaver from the Justice Department, who apparently got with Eddie Barzoon, and he tells Kevin that Eddie was going to testify. He goes across the street to talk to Kevin and gets destroyed by a car.
Time's up. Over. Plow.
So Kevin then goes to visit Marianne in the psych ward. And his mom's there along with Pam from The Office.
Dude,
the lawyer. Why is she there? When I first get there, I'm like, hey, Pam, is it? What the fuck are you doing here? Yeah. Like, that's my first question. He doesn't question any of it. Watch her. And then she turns into Demon Face Lady. And Charlize Theron slits her throat and whatever. And this is when Kevin gets all angry.
Yes.
And goes to his mom like, you need to tell me what the hell happened and what happened here in New York, and you visited here before, and you already know.
Lost my wife. Tell me who my daddy is.
So she reveals here, the big reveal is that Milton is his dad. And his mom was a whore when she was in New York for like 3 days on a church mission, and she gets freaking railed by some random waiter in New York.
Friggin' sex criminal boat, man.
Kevin then goes to Milton, shoots him. It has no effect because I'm the devil.
Yeah.
And
this is when he goes full Pacino.
Yes. Yes.
Wow! Oh, yeah! Yeah! Step on up, son! Come on, that's good!
Now, this is the one thing I will say. This monologue, which is what? Like a 2-minute monologue? 3-minute monologue?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Great. And, like, he goes through these patterns where he's shouting, he's an absentee landlord. And that's not that bad. I'm a good guy. He goes through these peaks and valleys like that.
Yeah.
If he could have leveled that out just a little bit more, it would have been like Hall of Fame caliber monologue.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But it's so good. It is.
And this is where he reveals that Christabella is his stepsister, and that they gotta do the pipitach so that he can have the kid. And again, going back to your point earlier, apparently he has to hold his daughter's hands while, like, I get it, he's the devil, but even for Satan, that's disgusting. So, Kevin then, right when he's about to get to the dirty, like he's about to cross the goal line, he decides to shoot himself in the head and end it all, to which Pacino goes crazy. This is the one thing, I know I can mock this movie ad nauseum, but this is the one thing that really bothered me. I really liked the background, like the painting move, like that was cool. This whole end scene was really good.
Except for, I know what you're going to say. Except
for when Pacino turns into the angel and he looks like this dollar store version of Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. He looks like a heavy metal like bassist that just didn't make it. Like he tried really hard and just didn't make it, and life just kicked him in the nuts repeatedly.
Yeah, I just didn't like that. If they removed that, the end scenes are almost flawless. Like it's a great ending.
Yep.
And then it flashes away. It rewinds back to Kevin in the bathroom at the beginning during the pedophile case. And he goes back to the courtroom, and instead of going, oh, I saw you fingering the table, I know you did this, I'm going to keep going, he decides to step away, says that he's not going to be his counsel anymore, and he loves Marianne, and yay rah. They're walking out of the courtroom, to which apparently he's best friends with the reporter in town in Gainesville.
Yeah, always good for a defense attorney.
Yes. So he says, and it goes back to this whole, this is who Kevin is. And he's like, oh, I want an exclusive. And he's talking about, I think he said something like 60 minutes or
60
something like
minutes,
that.
yeah.
And Kevin's like, well, I don't know. Okay, I'll totally do that. Like, I like the spotlight. We'll totally get that done. And then, the big reveal is, as they're walking out of the courthouse, the reporter morphs into Al Pacino, who gives the closing line.
Vanity really is my favorite sin. Finger guns.
Finger guns, end of movie.
I would have liked it, personally, if he never morphed back into Al Pacino.
Yes.
If you would have left some of the responsibility on us as the audience to remember Al Pacino continuously saying vanity is one of my favorite sins, especially because I think that's like one of his last fucking lines.
Yep.
It could have just been the reporter.
Yep.
And he goes, vanity's one of my favorite sins. And then end movie.
Yep.
Fade to black.
Yeah.
That would have been cool because it's him.
Yes, exactly.
And that way you also understand, like, it wasn't a dream.
Yep.
It was just kind of a rewind. And two, Milton already stated in the middle of the movie that he was the reporter.
Yes.
Because he quotes the reporter verbatim about the losing streak.
Was a nice run, Kev. Had to close out someday. Nobody wins them all.
Does the movie stand the test of time? For me, yes, it does. Like, everything is still really good about this movie. If you took the morph, and I'm even cool with it being 2.5 hours long. Like, I'm okay with that. If you remove a couple of scenes, maybe it's like 2:15. And
yeah, it's a bit slow burn.
But if you removed the 2 morphing scenes out of this, it's a 10 times better movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because you don't get that. What I really like about some movies is when you get to the end and there's no moment. Like, there's 2 minutes left and you get the, did they have to do that?
Yeah.
You just ruined the last 2 minutes of this movie for me. And that's what the morphing did for me in this. It was almost like, that was almost like a suit decision. Like, ooh, we got this new technology where you can morph. Did you see the Michael Jackson video? They do the thing, and we could do that at the end of this. And then they just go to the director. They're just like, yeah, just fit it in. Just fit it in. The producers, fit it in. And then they just added it. And they're like, well, I guess we can have the reporter morph into Pacino and the devil angel. Sure. And both of those, I just went, aw, like that.
Yep.
But outside of that,
this is the way I look at it. If you remove those 2 scenes, as you said,
yep,
and just the morphing part, you remove Marianne from watching Eddie get killed out the window that never gets brought up again.
Yep.
You keep this movie where it needs to be time-wise, which is what I call the Sophie rule, which no movie should be longer than it took Sophie to make her choice. You feel me?
I gotcha.
So it would fit in that rule, and we'd be good.
Yeah. No,
that's my only complaint. I really do like this movie. I know we make fun a lot of the accents. Look, anytime a young actor is putting on accents, they're going to sound like idiots. It's just... Those are hard things to fucking go through, unless you're like fucking Daniel Day-Lewis, who just lives as Abraham Lincoln for like 6 years.
Exactly. Well,
so
it's a funny thing to make fun of. And I know we were like, there was a lot of overacting and underacting. Listen, Pacino he knows one speed. Like, he's just Hulk smash. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, he's like, dude, you hired me, you gave me the money, here's why. Hey!
We're coming out! Guns blazing!
He did it more in this movie than any other movie I remember. But I think they were like, hey, at the end of this, you're the devil. And he went, I'm the devil. All right. Like, and he was like, I'm going to sell it the whole movie.
He had on his I can see him in the meeting. He had on his long blazer. He had on his fucking red scarf. His hair was all fucked up. And he's like, I'm the devil? You betcha!
The script was good. The premise was freaking fantastic.
Yeah.
And yeah, outside of the morphing, I didn't really have any other issues with it. But this is a movie, and I haven't seen it in a while, but this is a movie that I will rewatch again because it's one of those that I forgot about.
Mm-hmm.
And when we said we were going to do it, I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that movie.
Yeah, no, I totally found this movie to be pretty, pun intended, goddamn entertaining.
Yeah,
it was good.
It was super entertaining. So, do you have anything else for the movie?
No.
All right. Well,
I don't know why my voice went up 3 octaves, but I still don't have anything else. So
I don't know. All right. So for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1997's The Devil's Advocate.